welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while after the break. My birthday happened, and then, life just kind of got rolling, and I think I reached a little bit of a YouTube burnout. Not that my channel is like anything big or anything yet, but I was like uploading consistently. I got in like kind of like a creative mojo where I was like, all right, instead of maybe one video per weekend or maybe two, maybe I'll do a good five if I started having a list, and then I started just kind of taking on too much, and it kind of got tiring, like being in front of the camera. And I wanted to be excited to film a video and not be like, I'm excited for this one, and then like I reach video 3 that I film like on a Saturday, and I'm done, and then I don't want to film again tomorrow. So there was like it was just hard. I felt like to keep up with it, even though I could. I didn't have the same passion for it anymore, because it was just like one after the other, rather than maybe like split up my time a little bit more, take breaks a little bit more, and recognize that, like I needed some sort of schedule. But at the same time, I had so many ideas where it was like, where do I fit this and that to get all these videos out? And then my channel started getting a little bit more subscribers when I was doing that. And then while I was gone during my break, taking some days off and everything, I lost a couple of people. So it's like you win and lose with YouTube, and then I didn't feel like my channel was like at a point where I could be like, I upload every, but I felt like it was already kind of there. And then I took my break, and then I was uploading videos that I was watching movies for, throughout the break, and it just kind of felt, ugh, like I wanted it to be more exciting, and it wasn't. So I think that I took a much needed break from YouTube. What happened happened. I think I am going to just maybe do one or two videos per weekend. If I don't, I'm not gonna butcher myself over it. I'm just like gonna let whatever happens happens, and then hopefully I'll get some kind of consistency and like get the ball rolling, and then maybe have some kind of schedule. But whatever I feel like putting out there, and whenever I feel like doing it, I think is best for right now, just so I don't experience the burnout again. And I think a lot of YouTubers like experience that at some point, and then at multiple points. And especially if you're trying to get your channel going, it could be a lot. And then I'm no pro, like I said before, so just kind of doing what I'm doing, figuring things out. But with that being said, hi, how you doing? Today we're going to be doing another movie review. Still have not finished a new book. Just hasn't happened. Just kind of been chilling, taking care of myself. So we'll get on that too. But today we're going to be reviewing Scream, the new one. Where, yeah, the most recent one. Where it has that one girl from Disney Channel and the one guy from what's that movie? Not the movie, the Netflix TV show 13 Reasons Why. He's in it. And so yeah, I actually really like this movie. I liked it a lot better than I liked Halloween, because they weren't like grasping at things that didn't make sense. It was just like, I feel like the Scream movies, it's like pretty repetitive, but like in a good way. It's like, yes, we expect someone to get stabbed within like the first 10 seconds of the movie, but like we don't know how, or we don't know why, or how it's connected to the bigger picture. And it's a lot of like, okay, figuring out why this is happening and problem solving kind of thing. Whereas Halloween, it just kind of like, it's different, and then they took the whole like, I don't know what, like they made Michael like this other worldly human being, and we're not gonna go into that. So um I don't know why this small little town has so many people that want to dress up in a ghost face mask and kill people, but that's what happens. But yeah, so whenever something whenever the killings start again in this town, it's usually because there's some connection with like the original group of people. And so there was some where I think it was her cousin. This one, it was the daughter of the original killer, which was really interesting. And I don't know why, like, someone who admires the the killer and the whole like movies and all that jazz would want to kill the killer's daughter, but it was like a big thing, so I was like, all right, makes sense, but um that being said, i I really liked that Sydney wasn't like the focal point of this movie. Like she came out, but like it was like not towards the end. It was not like her coming and then like trying to fix everything and like kill the killer. It was more sort of like, okay, they're handling it on their own. Don't come. You're gonna die if you come, or we're going through this again. Like, you've got your life put together and everything. Like, she already had kids, she was married, like, she was living her life at this point. And I appreciated the fact that they made the characters from the last movie already, like, have a more developed life. I'm sorry, my dogs are crying, my dad's home. Um, like they some time has passed and they've made a life for themselves, and there's no reason why they should go back to the small town and like go through that again. And it hasn't happened for a while. Things are chill. Things finally seem like they're okay. So why, like, you know, think about that? But of course these people are always on edge as well because they know it's a possibility that this could happen. And then there's Dewey, who literally has been staying in town the whole entire time in a motorhome and has his gun ready. And I feel sorry that he's dead. Did I mention that already? I'm not sure. But it has been some time, so they finally think, oh, it's done. But then there's always these people that are like, hey, let's put on the ghost face mask and kill people. And so that's what happens. Um, so in the first scene, it's the daughter's sister, but it's not like from the same dad. It's from a different dad. And so she is in her house and she gets a phone call from her friend, and the friend ends up being like this guy who's like, hey, like, can I talk to your, I think it was your mom or your sister or something like that. And she like was talking to him and like basically like I assume it was the guy who ends up being one of the killers because there's two. Um, but I don't remember if it was like his voice exactly, and then like it turns like that staticky kind of once it ask what's your favorite scary movie. So he's just like talking. He's like, oh no, I met her like at a support group or whatever, and I shouldn't have mentioned it and blah blah this. And then he's like, hey, do you like scary movies? And it's like, what's your favorite scary movie? And then it's like, well, okay then. Because you didn't expect it to be like starting off as a conversation, so that was interesting. And then I found it really. The thing about these movies though is like you tend to laugh at certain points, and this one like it was like there was moments where they intentionally wanted you to laugh, like they would open the refrigerator door and you would expect something to be behind there and they close it and just like, oh, okay. And it's just like it makes you laugh, you know? So in that moment, like clicks the alarm and locks all the doors on her phone, and then somehow the ghost face like has like the ability to turn it back off, and like it was just like on off on off on off, and you're just standing there like, oh my god. And then you're like also like sort of like laughing a little bit because you're just like, what is happening? And then of course like like it's gonna pop out of nowhere and she's gonna get stabbed. It's not like even like a jump scare at this point. It's just kind of like, oh, it's gonna come out of somewhere. The thing I did enjoy about this is like there was times when you didn't expect the thing to come out of places. Like there was this one time where like Dewey was outside and like it came running out of like a barn, and he was outside the barn but you didn't know where the thing was, and it just like opened the door and was like running at him. It's much funnier when you watch the movie, and like much more like when you watch the movie, because me explaining it just like it does no justice. But oh my goodness, and then Dewey dies. Like the thing I also was really sad about, but also liked about this movie is that the characters from like the past, they were not again focal points, but at the same time, when like they passed or when they got injured, you really felt it, and like it was like their time to go when they went. So Dewey dying, like I don't like the way he went because it was like, dude, like why didn't you just shoot the guy? Like, oh my goodness, like he died so brutally. It's like you could have left, but you went back. But okay, but this is sad. And then he broke up with Gail, and like, cause she got a job opportunity, and he couldn't like handle it, cause he was like always meant, like she said, he was always meant to be in that town and everything, and so like she's like, I understand. And then like her like crying and like being like, you killed my best friend, and then the reveal of it being like a teenage girl to like witness that it was like this itty bitty like teenage girl that like killed him. Like it just it was pretty heartbreaking. Like not that like she couldn't do it, but it was just like, oh my goodness, like like this girl is brutal, and then like that one scene where she was burned and she's still coming at them with a knife, like oh my goodness, she was insane. um but like the fact that like the guy was like not like the main one in the mask and she was like most of the time, it just goes to show like that this movie was just full of surprises and like things that I didn't expect, and not that the villain could or the ghost face couldn't have been female, but it was just like it was not what I was expecting. And I was expecting like it to be the guy. Like I thought she was like his accomplice, and like because like she was a teenager, like you would think that maybe like he was like egging her on or something, or like I don't know. And it turns out like she kind of was like the one like doing most of the stuff, and he was just kind of like the one in the foreground like pretending, and she wasn't really around, and therefore she was the one in the mask killing people. And the strength that she possessed, like it was just insane. And so that was completely unexpected to me. um and then like Dewey in the beginning being like, it's always the love interest, and of course it ends up being the boyfriend, which like I expected. But then I was like all the way at the end of the movie, and I was like, okay, who is it? Like, okay, I think it's this girl. Coincidentally, the girl has the same name as me, but we're not going to talk about that. So who else is it? And then it was the boyfriend. I was like, whoa, wasn't expecting that, because at this point I didn't expect it to be the boyfriend, because you had expected it to be the boyfriend in the beginning, and everything like seemed like it wasn't the boyfriend up until this point, because anything that could have seemed like it was the boyfriend, it wasn't that. Like I was just like, okay, cool, not cool, but like you get me right. And like I was just like, okay. And it just, you felt sorry for the girl, because it was just like she put all this trust in him, and like she thought like he was in her corner, and like he was in her corner when like she didn't have her sister, when like things like happened with her mom and everything and her dad. So yeah, it was kind of messed up that it ended up being him. And the fact that they had like been like planning this for so long, like that he went and found her, brought her back. Like this was like this thing that took some time to really plan out. It wasn't just like, oh, like they're related to this person, let's go at them. Like we're fanatics of this whole thing. Let's just, it was just like really thought through. And then the girl, she was living in the house, and nobody like really like talked about it. I thought maybe someone would have mentioned that the fact that she had lived in the house, the original murders murders had happened. But she was like obsessed with this house, and that like sparked her interest. And then she was also like the sister's best friend, And so like nobody expected her. Like I expected her, but like none of them really expected her because like she was like the best friend. At the same time, like she was like new in the group, so like the other kids like they had been around and like through her childhood and everything. I was sad that the that one guy, the 13 Reasons Why guy, I don't know his name. Um, he ended up dying like in the beginning, and I was just like, but you're the love interest, you like the girl, like oh no, and he dies. So I was like, all right. And then the way he died, like the knife went through like the side of his neck. It was insane. And then the thing was like the ghost face was like killing people in like broad daylight and like in front of the house, and nobody noticed. And I was just kind of like, it was like that one scene in Halloween where like he was just walking like in mid daylight on the street, and like it's like, does anybody else see this? No, okay. Um, and the fact that like the ghost face like he like was luring all these different people to kill them, and you think, okay, he's killing these people, but then like there's people around who were just like there at the wrong time, and then they ended up dead. Um, so that was pretty sad. And then Sydney and Gail lighting the girl on fire, even though she was a teenager, was pretty interesting. I didn't think they were gonna go that far, but I was like, you know what? She killed a lot of people. Like, okay, it's kind of like, okay, all right, go ahead. And the fact that Sarah ended up like stabbing her boyfriend a lot of times, saying like, you don't mess with a serial killer's daughter, like she was just going at him, and you see that like realization of like, oh my goodness, like maybe I am my father. It just like, it kind of like was like, okay, are we gonna have another movie here? Like what I it didn't explain really like what those scenes were. I don't know if it was like her dad or her ex-boyfriend, like she had to go on meds or something, so I wasn't really sure who that was. I didn't catch that. And so like there was points when he was like, no, you need to do this, there's a murder on the loose. Like he was like kind of like the good cop, like on her the meh, the good angel on her shoulder, the good cop on her shoulder. um but we knew that this guy wasn't good. So it was just kind of like, who are you? What advice are you listening to? What does it say about you? And then she never really talked about it with anybody else. So like that's interesting. I would like to see what that develops into if there is another movie. If not, it's like it's fine them ending it there. But yeah, I didn't expect like people to be killed so easily. Like Dewey was killed very easily. And then Gail, she's been like through this so many times, and she just got like shot like fairly quickly, and it was just like things just like happened where I was just kind of like, okay, we could have prevented this. Like there's enough stabbing as is. Like I don't think that was needed, but that's just me. Other than that, it was a good movie. They got out of town. Um, the twins were awesome. The two twin friends were great. And I thought it was overall a really great movie. It was funny. You had like this new friend group. Everyone like played their part like the original movie. They like really played on the idea like this was like the original movie like redone. And I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's all my thoughts on this, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see y'all real soon. Bye!